Somebody tries to call me. So, granted, you want to oil up your shaft and everything when you're doing this. Now, it's probably going to get a little harder to push, but this is where the bar comes into play. But I'm going to jack it up more, because no matter what, it's going to start to become, I can't believe how much I got that up, but it probably is in an actual favorable position right now. Oh yeah, it just went in, and let's see where the hole is. Well, I can see it. It's just hard right now with this phone, but hang on, let me zoom in. Come on. This sway bar is in the way, but how come I can't see it with my eyes? It's a little hard to tell because it's just not focusing, but actually right there, you see that's the hole, that's the light from the hole. Hey, I'm actually shining the light in the hole. Do I get both holes? Yeah, look at this, I got both holes. I mean, ultimately, it's not where it was, but it's not the same kind of spring either. I'm honestly not worried about it. As long as the holes are exposed, or at least one of them is, it'll be fine, you know? But yeah, I can loosen it, and I mean, it's actually... it's a good half-inch away from that thing. I don't know. Do I let it all down and redo it? I don't know. Let's see what happens. All right. I let it all back down again, and then back up. And because the thing got on a different place, it didn't really go as well. And I was prying it. I had to use my big snap-on extension. Oh, and I pried that sucker in there. Not a big deal, but you know what I gained? Not even a micrometer, you know. And I swear I turned it like a half-inch. It's definitely closer to the second hole, you know. Ultimately, what I think was originally is that it covers one hole and the other hole is free. I've seen both holes covered, or the second hole is half covered. Anywhere in that area is fine. So it really wasn't worth all that extra effort, to be honest, because it was harder the second time. It just so happens you get it right the first time and everything goes well, and then you mess with it and then it becomes a pain in the neck. But now that I can just jack it up, and there's probably not even that much you know, pressure on the tool. Car is lifting up off the ground. I should actually thought about that. And it may be a good practice. Oh yeah, that guy is off the ground. So ultimately, this is going to be a certain way. It's a new spring. It wants to bounce out. It's probably not going to move that much more, to be honest. But you got to get one in, and then you got to jack it up anyhow to get this guy, because this is all the way down already. So this has got to get jacked up, and it's harder to do, obviously, when, you know, you have the ball joint in with the weight on it, and you have to push everything up, and it's heavy. You hope that when everything is in, the threads are long enough that you just grab them, and then you can tighten them up, and that'll pull it together, and that way you know you're safe. But ultimately now you're going to leave the jack under it. This is nice. This is exactly what I was telling you not to do, and I did it. I'm literally pole vaulting the car. I got to take my own advice. Okay. So hopefully that did not bend. Probably won't, but you really got to learn to put that in a different place. Okay, I'm on the jack stand. That's the main thing. And I don't know if I'm going to make another video, but it's pretty much straightforward from this point on. Spring is in, you know, and then I got to do the other side as well. So I hope you enjoyed this. If I feel there's something else pertinent, you'll see it after this video. Okay, so here's my setup for the lower ball joint. I was trying to do it the other way, and a lot of times I go through here, you know, but it's too, like if this was loose and I can get it all the way out of the way, it'd be better to do it like that. But it's kind of funny when you do it that way, because the way everything sets up and you have the stud fighting you, where the stud just comes right through the puller here. So I got it most of the way in. I'm doing it by hand, which, you know, nobody wants to do this shit by hand. Alright, so I'm just going to show you. And try to get three turns. Ooh. It's not 3 full turns, but it's 3 motions with the brake bar. Okay, and then when you go like this, right there, boom. See, every time I do that, it goes in a little further. So it's gonna go in. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you that, and you know, you just keep doing like this. Like I said, if you have the gun, you do it. But no, even when you do the gun, that's why I have the wrong size socket on here deliberately, and I'll explain in a second. Let me just get these done. And we'll get this done one more time. Okay, so the reason why that's all mushroomed is because I'm always hitting this with the hammer. Even when you use a gun, you tighten it with the gun and then you smack it, and boom, it goes boom. You can hear it, you hear the crack that it makes, and every time you do it, you get a little tighter. And that has to be, don't listen to anybody, that has to be completely seated. If a guy is doing it in a press and it doesn't look like it looks like it's 90% in and 10% not in, it's not in. You have to keep pressing it until it goes all the way around, and you have to make sure of that. And the only way to do it is to keep pushing it, because, you know, this is stamped steel, and it needs to be all the way in. That's the way you took it out. That's the way you got to put it back in. I don't care what anybody says, it will go in. You just keep pushing it, it will go in. And you know, not by any dangerous means either. It's not like you're going to ruin anything, but if it doesn't go in right away, it'll not go in, you know. So then you get the oversized ball joint. And that's basically that. And this one's just going to be bolted, so it's not going to be an issue. So, all right, let me get 2 hands on this so I can do it better, and almost done pretty much. Thanks for watching. Okay, let's see if it's pressed all the way in. Where am I? Okay. Don't know if you can see that. I'm going to probably double check using other means. It looks to be all the way in. This is a much more solid. Some of these things were just really crappy steel, and even though this is a cheap Chinese one, it actually is pretty thick. So it helps to be thick because it has more weight behind it when you're hammering it in, and it just goes in squarely, then it doesn't move or flex, but it seems pretty good. I'll know when I look at this video. Alright. Okay, I think that would be the extent of it, and even if it's not all the way in, I'm probably not going to make another video. You just got to keep going with it no matter what, and make sure that it's all the way in. This might be an older quick steer brand. I had these boxes laying around, had them for other cars that I don't have anymore. They're basically the same, that I never changed the front end on. All grade 8 things. Some of them are horrible things. These look like metric. That's what they've been giving me with a lot of these things. Yeah, so they're 6mm metric instead of the 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch is slightly bigger, but they're usually a coarse thread. But if it's a fine thread, it's fine, you know. But they give the hardware. But I just want to make a point here with these ball joints. See that? See that boot? See the spring clamp that's holding the boot? That's the kind, when you look at the pictures when you buy one, even if you buy cheap ones, to me, that is worth a lot of your time. These are so much better. They hold the grease better, okay? You don't have to fumble with it when the thing is falling out. It's horrible. And then the bottom one never goes on right. It never goes on right. And even when you take it off, it just basically falls off. So there's some kind of, you know, thing here holding it. You know, this one seems to be actually incorporated, which is more like the one I just bought. But then there's this thing here. I don't know. There's usually had a stamped steel piece that went up and went with the mounting bolts. I don't like to have thin steel between these things here. Oh, by the way, I wire wheeled this. Definitely though. You look at the picture. I don't care if it's cheap or expensive, and you want to buy it. If it has the other ones, they ain't worth it. This is so much better. Holds the grease. It's just not going to be an issue. All right. So that's my 2 cents. All right. Thanks for watching. Now, finally. All right. So aftermarket parts will get you sometimes. It's funny. I don't know if it's actually because I couldn't screw on the 10 millimeter, and it looks like a 7/16 head. I mean, to me, I guess that's just the quality of the bolt. Usually that means metric. But they had these lock washers, and I don't like when you have the lock washers that are so big, because you'll tend to split them. So I'm going to put the regular size ones. I'm sure what I put will be fine. These are probably extra thick and, you know, maybe more hardened, but I've had these actually split on me for the same reason, because they play with the size of the thread and the size of the head, because the original heads are 7/16, and it looks like it might be a 7 millimeter thing, and they just made the heads like the original, even though it's riveted in. But I'm putting the regular size lock washers. These really should be stop nuts, actually, but it'll be fine, you know. And then I guarantee you, I open up the other box. This happens like all the time. You open up the other box when you buy 2 ball joints, and it's a different set of hardware in there, and usually one is worse than the other. So we'll see when I get to the other side. Of course, never fails whenever you put a cotter pin in that you don't double check where the stud is going to land. I have the hole right in line with the spindle, so of course I had to put it through and then bend it and then push it through, bend it again, and like, you know, bent it as a U. That one came out okay, and the pullers, the compressor is still in. Let's see what happens. Oops, kind of wedged myself here right against the alternator. That's wonderful. I can't even hit the button. Are you kidding me? There's so much load on it. Oh, actually, I'm pushing myself against the spring. Oh, but I can't tighten it. That's the... Oh my God. That's hilarious. All right, let me fix it. How does that happen? All right, I had to curse a little bit and get out of it, you know, get off it. But right now, that's how the gun is up here, and it was flexed all the way down there. Anywho. So right there, I just tightened it. I gather it's still threading. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so once you get it, you know, on the inside of the spring, you'll get it through the hole. That's not a problem. And it's even easier when you completely unscrew it, because that's the one thing you really can't, well, I guess you have to do it. That's why they came out, like this one actually is not bad because it comes with the fork. It's not really as safe as what I just did. You know, pressing it against the car is really, like, it's really safe. It's not really that bad. And you can sit there and push on it. Everybody's, you know, when it's compressed on itself, you know, you're kind of walking on, you know, eggshells. But, yeah, I'm going to need 2 hands again to get this guy out. But I know it's not going to be that bad. Actually, I'm not even looking at the camera, so I don't know if you're seeing anything or not. But I was kind of reaching it from underneath. I mean, technically now, I got the jack in the way, banging my head. So once the jack is all the way down, come on. All right. Yeah, actually, once the jack moved, it came right out, and there it is. All right, that is the official end of all of this. I just got to put the grease fittings in and put everything, all the ancillary stuff back in, and the brakes, and this side will be good. Then I go to the other side. Okay, one other thing, once you get your grease fittings in, you start greasing it. Okay, grease goes in, but what you want to really do, since you have the tie rod disconnected, oh my god, ball joint's tight. When I had it jacked up, it actually, I thought, moved easier, so there's probably a little bit of weight on it, being that it's new. But you move it in different positions while you're greasing it. That's the right way to do it, because then you're ensuring that you get it all the way around 360 degrees, so that when you do turn into it, it's not so bad, you know. But it might be better that I actually, you know, jack it up and get the load off it, and then grease it, because it may go in even better then. All right, so I'm going to do that right now, but it just, you know, little things that you do can mean a lot, actually. All right, so greasing it while your car is up in the air with the, you know, tires hanging down is not going to be a big deal once you break these in. But when they're new and you let them hang like that, this doesn't move as well, you know. So here it is. I'm greasing, and then I just push it with my hand. That moved a lot easier. And pumping it a bunch of times. I usually do it 8 to 10 times, and then when you re-grease it at your oil changes, you just do, you know, 3 pumps. That's all you usually need. You want to make sure you get it, though, 360 degrees around. I'm going to do the bottom one, and this is the official end of this video, unless I decide to add something from the other side, but it should be pretty straightforward. The same idea, just the other side. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. All right, one more pertinent note. I just broke both of these ball joints loose, and I used this fork. I have a few of these. This is the other thing I bought by Snap-on, unless it's Blue Point. Not quite sure. I've had it for 25 years. I can never find it, but since I cleaned my garage, I found it. That being said, this just does not deflect. It's actually thinner with a bigger hole, so it actually can fit in better. And you hit it with this, and there's no deflection at all, and it absolutely breaks it every time. Just letting you know, that's one good thing to buy from Snap-on for sure. Just like that long extension that I've beat with a hammer a million times, that I've never had to grind it to make a socket wrench fit or a impact gun fit. It never wavers. So pertinent information, just letting you know that both springs are exactly the same. They're wound in the exact same way, and they go in the exact same way. That's why I was telling you that, you know, I didn't really need to do a video for this side, because it's the same 2 holes. It's got to go in the same little pocket over there, and that's just the way it is. It would make more sense if, you know, they were, you know, twirled the other way, you know, one for one side, one for the other side, but apparently it doesn't really matter. And this is just the way they do it. They make the pocket to accept it the way it is, and the chassis to accept it the way it is, and that's it. The only thing I notice is that you see these little tits on here. Sorry to use bad language, but yes, they're little tits, I call them. But I think that's just from the impression that it makes in the car. I mean, you can cut them off. I think it would conform over time. Again, it's really not doing much. I wouldn't put nothing, but I wanted to put the, you know, the top rung here, the top part of the spring in the bushing the way it came out. So that's why it would move, because like I said, the bottom was going to end up in a different place in relation to the top, you know, compared to the original spring, because it's actually a little bit shorter. So that being said, let me put this in. That's the only thing else I wanted to throw in there, is that they are exactly the same, you know, other than it being on the other side. Each spring is exactly the same. There's no left, no right. I'm sure you knew that already, but the reason why is just the way the pocket is, and they didn't feel the need to do that. Boy, I got a lot of cleaning up to do. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. That is the end now. I promise. My phone ain't going to take anymore. Alrighty. So, hard to tell because I got another car here, but it's definitely like way up. It looks like a Cutlass now. I never like anything dragging on the ground. Rear springs and front springs done. Looking good. Now I gotta get this door panel back on. It's getting late though, I don't know if I'll bother. Very nice. Okay. All right, now that's the last video.